Good morning, parents and students. This video is being recorded for those students who are members of the class of 2022. Those are our current junior students. So this is the time of the year where we'll be inviting the parents and students to attend their junior year conference. We invite you to, first of all, watch this video. That's most important in preparation for the conference. The next thing is to book your conference. All students will receive an email from the counselors with the counselors' booking information so that you can book your team's conference for you and your parent or guardian. And then, of course, we invite you to bring all of your questions. So we're going to go through this video very thoroughly, but also, of course, again, we can't emphasize enough that you read. Watch the video first because when you get to the conference is usually 10 to 15 minutes max because we have hundreds of students, junior students, who are going to be going to the 12th grade, and we need to meet with all of them. So, again, we advise you to go ahead, watch this video, and then make sure that you book with your counselor. Parents, if your email is on file, you will receive this as well. But if your email isn't on file, please sure you contact the counseling office so that we can update you and send you the invite information as well. So, what I'm sharing with you is what's called the DeKalb County School District Advisement Guide for High School counselors. So, we use this to make sure that we're going over college, career, academic, social, emotional um, content or items with your students. So, when you meet with the counselor, they're going to talk to you about your child's specific information, but right now I'll keep it general. We'll discuss, demographic information, GPA, credits earned, credits needed, graduation requirements still remaining, meaning the classes, their current diploma type. We'll discuss and of course tests if they're necessary. We know during COVID there have been some changes, so we don't want to go into all of the changes right now because they're different per grade level. But during the conference, if that's necessary, we talk about this as well. Remediation opportunities. When students fail classes, DeKalb has a few ways for those students to make those classes up. Some are DeKalb virtual classes, which are our virtual format is primarily flex. We have flex during the day, which is generally free if that's something that the student needs and it fits into their schedule. Then there's sometimes it just depends on when they offer it. There's flex credit recovery, that's a free option also, but depending on your student situation, that may or may not be appropriate. And then there's flex beyond the day, and there's a cost for that. Right here, we have general costs. Costs may vary. Again, this is generic, but again, if this applies to your student, your child's counselor would let you know. There's also Elizabeth Andrews High School, which is an alternative high school, and I want to put a side note or caveat in and say this is alternative for making up courses. It's not alternative behavior, but it is a different setting, whereas your student would only be taking the exact classes he or she needs in order to um, either get more credits or to recoup credits that he or she may have failed, half credits, things they're able to flex their schedule in a way that we do not in a 4x4 school setting. So, again, that would be something you talk to your counselor about. Also, summer school, if that applies, you need to talk to your child's counselor about that too. So, let's get into post secondary planning. One of the things that's important for students to do is to make sure that they are, this is an interactive guide. You can click on it. When you receive it, you will receive this in a generic one in your email, but after the conference, you'll receive one specific with your child's information filled in. So, this is something that you should be doing in terms of clicking on the link. One of the things that's available to the students is the 11th grade timeline. So, I want to go over that a little bit with you. Okay, this timeline they do have access to, and it is from College Board. And what they do is they recommend that students be doing certain things in the fall, winter, spring, summer, etc. So right now we're in the spring. So what you should be doing is contacting your counselor, preparing for this conference, developing your college list, stay open to possibilities, don't limit yourself, take the SAT, start to gather documents for financial aid. And we'll talk about the SAT a little bit later. And they're, by the way, they are promoting SAT because College Board does SAT is a College Board test. There's also ACT, but they're not going to tell you to take ACT because that's not their test. But that's an admissions test as well that they can take. And we'll get into that a little bit more after later on in the presentation. Also, there are certain things that you should be doing during the summer. For example, registering with NCAA if you're an athlete, getting your FSA, your FAFSA ID, and we do tend to hold FAFSA events. And I am going to ask Mr. Logan probably to put a demonstration together of that. But I know that many parents are familiar with FAFSA. We'll go into that a little bit later also. Find a job, visit colleges, etc. Okay, other things on the timeline, we do encourage you to write, make your own notes on here. You will have to go to the SAT and ACT websites to see what their registration dates and deadlines are. And right now in DeKalb County School District, there are no DeKalb County schools that are currently hosting the SAT and ACT face to face. So you'd have to go again to SAT and ACT websites to see what the alternatives are in Georgia. Another thing that we want to let you know is ACT and SAT do provide fee waivers to take the test for juniors and seniors if you're who receive free lunch. In this case, that's our entire school for this year. So if your child wants an ACT or SAT waiver, what they need to do is fill out this link with the information that it asks, and it comes directly to the counselors. We respond with the code and the information needed to go ahead and register for the test. One other thing I want to point out is that when the students take the SAT, not the ACT, when they take the SAT in their senior year, after that, College Board will send them 4 college application fee waivers, meaning once you've taken the SAT in your senior year, not your junior year, in your senior year, after that, College Board will send to your College Board inbox for College Board waivers so that you can put those with your college applications. They no longer give them to the counselors. Many of you may have students who graduated previously and the counselors would do it. It goes straight to the student's inbox now. So make sure that's important to know. Also, another very, very important thing to help you guys be on track and make sure that you're getting ready when you leave here is to complete your Naviance task. If you've been at Stone Mountain this school year, last year, or if you listen to the announcements, you hear us talk about Naviance all the time. So I'll go into a little bit, but Naviance is basically the career post-secondary planning platform. It's a computer site, it's a website with all kinds of post-secondary planning for college, for career, etc., military interest. It does have social emotional learning support. All of that. This system helps students to plan now. So what students would do is log into Clever and get that done. Because this is so important, I'm going to take a minute just to go over what the students would do with regard to Naviance. We have already sent directions, but I'm going to go over this again. If Naviance comes up. Excuse me. Okay. I apologize for all of this clicking, but I want to make sure you get to see what it looks like. So the students have directions. What you do is when you log into Naviance through Clever, you would go to My Planner, and then you would go to Task. Once you go to task, you'll see all of the tasks that are assigned to you. This is saying senior, it did not click, but yours will say junior. You are to complete all of those tasks. And of course, once you're finished, we did send you a link so that you can let us know that you're finished. Going back to Naviance, or staying with Naviance rather, one of the things that I want to say that one of the things that Stone Mountain prides itself on is ensuring that our students are well rounded and making sure that they have what they need in order to be competitive for scholarships. One of those things that and for the world beyond. One of the things that we do require of our students is that they complete community service hours before they graduate. All students are expected to complete 80 hours of community service before they graduate. We collect them when they graduate. So, of course, in this COVID environment, we had to figure out how we were going to do that in a way that would keep our students safe, but also ensure that they're getting what they need and they are providing valuable community service. So what we decided, because Naviance not only helps you, but it does give us valuable information to help our learning community, we decided that once students complete their Naviance task, they will receive the community service hours for this year. In this case, the juniors will receive 20 hours. If they're in ninth, 10th, or 11th grade, they will receive 20 hours of the required 80 community service hours once they've completed their Naviance task. Again, once they've done it, they would complete the link that we send to the email, or, of course, if this is a lot, you can contact the counselor about this part as well. And then we will be keeping track electronically because the completed items do come to us. So, again, the students will complete the Naviance task, and we will automatically give them the 20 hours needed for community service, toward their community service hours total. And that's for grades 9 through 11. They'll receive 20. Okay, so returning back to the advisement guide, the next thing we do during the session is we discuss your plans after high school. Are you thinking about college, career, military, going directly to work? We discuss those and we discuss your plans. We also discuss college fair visitations. And again, we cannot emphasize enough that you review your Naviance inbox and your Outlook email, because that's, and the school's website and the announcements, because that's where we put up information about college fairs, college visits. I'm not sure about college visits or how that'll look. Most of them are virtual right now. And if you were to go into Naviance and look into your inbox, I'll do that real quickly. Oh, I forgot that one isn't working. But when you go to Naviance, all students have a Naviance inbox. If you were to look on it, if you've never used it, it may say something like 150, because we've sent Naviance messages out to you guys. We've sent messages out to you all throughout the school year. But one of the messages, or some of the messages that go in here, are about the college visits, the virtual college visits that have been going on throughout the school year. So it's important that you go over that or look there as well. And these announcements also go to your Outlook email. Next, we also tell students that in order for you to know whether or not you are eligible for the Hope Scholarship or for Zell Miller, you must create a gafutures.org account to make sure that you can see. Now, of course, if you make your account and you cannot see, that means that you don't have a social security number on file. That is a requirement for you to be able to see your Hope information in Georgia Futures. The counselors will not say, yes, you qualify, or no, you do not. It'll be based on your GPA in Georgia Futures, which may be different than your DeKalb County School District email, which is why it's very important for students to log in. If you have questions about that, see the counselor. Also, another link that's important for our students is that you, especially our athlete, is that you check with your coaches and you register for NCAA clearinghouse. This is one of the most famous platform for athletes where they go and register and submit their information, their tapes, all that kind of stuff for scouts if they're trying to get athletic scholarships. There is a cost for this. However, students do receive free reduced lunch or they get SAT or ACT waivers. The cost would be waived. They just need to let the counselor know so that we can go in and provide a fee waiver. Another service that students will need to be familiar with as they go into their senior year is how to request a transcript. This will probably be updated when by the time the students return to their senior year, but this will either tell them how to get a transcript sent from Stone Mountain to a school for the school purposes or for scholarship or something like that. And then there'll also be options for having your transcript sent out through Naviance, Georgia Futures, Common App, etc. So those are things that'll be coming up as well. We also will be verifying that you have a social security number card on file. And again, as we mentioned before, for financial aid purposes, you do need to have one on file. You do need to have a social security number on file in order to see your HOPE GPA. So if you happen to not, when we're in a conference, and if we say we don't have a social security card on file, you'll have to email us a copy so that we can send that to DeKalb County School District for uploading your Social Security card to Georgia Futures. We also check your name to ensure that your name will be correct on your diploma. Now, there are a few other things that we'll talk about, or there are a few other important websites that you need to be familiar with. One is the FAFSA, which FAFSA is the website where you go to fill out the free financial aid form to see if your student qualifies for the Pell Grant and other grants, SEOG, namely from the federal government. And even if your child does not qualify, that usually is the first step requirement at any college before they offer financial aid. They expect the students complete the FAFSA. And by the way, there are lessons in Georgia Future as well as in Naviance that teach you how to fill out the FAFSA form. And DeKalb County School District and Stone Mountain usually holds an event to help students as well. There's also test prep to help the students with SAT and ACT at our Stone Mountain High School Center test prep page. And one other thing I want to point out really right now for students is scholarships. So this link has been a trusted link of mine, at least for the 15 years that been in DeKalb County School District. Students and parents will say, help me with scholarships. So here's the best help that I can give you with scholarships. It's the best advice. Start early, start now. I'll go over this list, or I'll let you see this list. This list is called 200 Free Scholarships for Minorities. So right now, if I were to click on this one, it would give me the information or tell me about the scholarship is already passed for this year. But if you look at these, you'll see what it is that your student is preparing for. Every scholarship is going to be different. They're going to be different requirements. Some will be based on GPA. Some will be based on community service. That really is a big deal, which is why we emphasize it. Some will be based on need. Most will have some sort of GPA requirement. So, and some will be based on SAT scores. Some will be based on areas in a specific um, things in a specific area that you may be interested in. Some will be based on ethnicity, nationality. Some may be religious. Some may be based on whether or not you're a teen mother or you're uh, a student who has a deceased parent. There are tons. There is no corner market unless you run a scholarship academy and you are really, really familiar with thousands. There is no corner market, but we usually provide you with the ones that we're most familiar with. This list has 200 of them, and the way to apply for them is to go through and see what the requirements are and then get with the counselor about what it is that you need to do. So these are the kinds of things you can get started with regard to scholarships right now. And also, when I go over the gear up portion of this video, I'll say more about scholarships as well. But in general, my best advice is start looking through this list, start seeing things you think you may qualify for, and start getting ready for that. So that when the deadlines change, all of these scholarships on here have live links, which means even though Thurgood Marshall may be passed for this year, next year for the 21-22 school year, they'll update it, and then, but at least you'll have a heads up if that's something you're planning on applying for. The other thing we want to point out, another thing we want to point out is we know that especially during COVID, well, all the time, no matter where you are in your life, you do need social emotional supports. So here are a few that we put in just in case you need them. Of course, during the school day, your counselors are here for you. But at any time, something that's very, very important is that we include mental health crisis numbers such as 911, and there's also the Georgia Crisis and Access Line. These lines are available 24/7, 365. They're trained professionals, licensed counselors, licensed social workers, basically people who can provide you with emotional and social support for whatever it is that you're going through. And also, they can provide you with references just in case you need to talk to somebody in your area. And one of the nice things about COVID, not that COVID is nice, but a nice addition that has come for the good of the community is that many healthcare providers, mental health providers, provide telemental health, meaning they'll talk to you on your computer. In many cases, they can talk to you on your phone. So it's much more convenient, and people do have more flexible hours. And of course, Georgia does or has created what they consider or call the Georgia COVID Emotional Support Line. Again, it's similar to these. So any of those would be good resources. They're 24/7, 365 resources. I cannot emphasize this enough for you parents, especially for yourself, for parents, yourself, whomever, because this is difficult. We're living in difficult times. People may handle it differently. And again, these are trained professionals. Okay, so at this point, this part of the video ends it for most of the students and their parents. However, I'm going to transition and talk about Gear Up student editions. Just in case you're wondering, Gear Up, let me start off with what Gear Up is. But let me say who the Gear Up students are. Gear Up students are students who were chosen in their eighth grade year. Of school by the Georgia Department of Education. They did not opt in nor opt out. They were chosen, and they are a cohort of students who have gone through eighth, ninth, 10th, and now they're currently 11th grade. So most Gear Up students, unless they're off track, are members of the class of 2022. Unfortunately, just like we did not assign students to Gear Up, we cannot add Gear Up students. So the services that I'm referring to, of course, if you do not have a Gear Up student, you're welcome to listen, but this because you may have questions about whether or not your student can be offered similar services. However, these services are specifically for Gear Up students who have been tagged, and these services will be available to them after until they graduate, and there is support for them after graduation. So I'll say a little bit about Gear Up. So to start, I'll say what is Gear Up? Okay, so I guess the website can say it best. In October 2016, Georgia received its first statewide Gear Up Gaining Early Awareness and Readiness for Undergraduate Program grant. On behalf of the governor's office, the University System of Georgia will administer the 7-year, $21 million grant awarded by the U.S. Department of Education. And it says, Gear Up students and parents, click here to complete the only parent consent and student. Okay, don't worry about that part because many of you have done that already. And the overall objective of Gear Up is to increase cohort and priority student academic performance and preparation for post-secondary education, increase the percentage of targeted cohort and priority students who graduate from high school and enroll in a post-secondary institution, increase student and family knowledge of post-secondary education options through preparation, financing, and careers, and to increase targeted cohort and priority students persistence rates for 1 year of post-secondary education. So what does all of that mean? I'm so glad you asked. So what we do at the local school level is we help to ensure that students receive services that help them. The Gear Up students receive services that help them with post-secondary planning while they're in high school, financial aid so that they can achieve their goals, and that means that parents and students need to take advantage of many of the opportunities that are given to them through Gear Up. So I've listed in this form links for you to click on, and I'll go through each one briefly. But again, if you have if you need any more information, contact the counselors. And also, there are other people we talk to outside of our school building. I am the local Gear Up coordinator as the head counselor, but we are in partnership with Georgia State University as well. That's one of the places where one of our other Gear Up partners work, and then there are people at the state level. But we start with the local school level first. So one of a few of the things that Gear Up is asking you to do is to complete the Gear Up annual survey. Some of you have been getting Gear Up emails forever. You've been hearing Gear Up that you've seen your students, they've gotten Gear Up book bags, they did Gear Up field trips. They've gotten, some of them have won Amazon cards because they participate in the Gear Up activities when we send them to your email. Again, it's very important that you check your emails because, as I said, it's a virtual setting so that we're in right now. So it's the best way for us to get things out. So Gear Up is asking you to help them to get a better. They are asking parents to click on this link, parents and students to click on this link and to complete the Gear Up survey because they want to get better. And along those lines, here are some of the services that Gear Up provides. One, and I know that, we've been calling, we've spoken to many of you this year, Miss Dennis and I, our counseling department, Miss Dennis, Miss Shipman, who has retired, and myself. We've called many of you. Pretty much at this point, all of you, you've spoken to one of us, or we attempted to call about the Gear Up services. So one of those services is Apple Root, which is a company that provides SAT prep for these students. Gear Up is paying for this for them to have personalized classes. It's that online class test prep, but then they also have some with the teacher. This is where the students would sign up. Okay. Also, they provide mentoring. That's one-on-one mentoring through an agency. Here it says, if you're interested in receiving a college mentor student success agent to help guide you through high school graduation and beyond, please read more about the Student Success Agency program and click this link to sign up for an agent. This is an agency that has been vetted and approved by DeKalb County School District. This is not some random thing. Again, this is a reputable company. What your Gear Up student would do is um, use this link and they would sign up. If you have any difficulty signing up, then you need to let me know. But I cannot emphasize how important it is. You may say, my child is struggling. He or she is just not motivated. This can help with that. And also they may have questions, and sometimes they may just have questions that they cannot say, okay, I can't get to the counselor, which they should be able to, and we'll answer their questions. However, you just may need a second voice. So that's what this mentoring is good for, along with many other things. There's also tutor.com. I cannot emphasize this enough. Some students, I remember when I was a classroom teacher, I would just be living my best teaching life, and I would think that I'm just laying out the lesson, and the students would look at me with a look like, huh? And I would say, can you explain this to he or she? And they would say, oh, she meant this. And they would say, "Oh, why didn't she say that?" In other words, they talked student. So what tutor.com is a 24/7 homework um, helpline that provides Gear Up students with free tutoring. And the reason why I said it's good with students is because many of these are college students, but they're college students who know what they're doing, and they're smart. And sometimes it's just the age barrier. They speak similar languages. It's really effective. I know some students who use it and they love it. They say sometimes they may be having problems with, I'll just throw it out, physics, whatever, physics, calculus, it can be world geography, whatever it is that they're having difficulty with. These are smart people. This is their business, and it's there for you for the signing up. Another thing that Gear Up also provides is Scholarship Academy. So ever since, I don't know if the students can remember, but this was before COVID, so it feels like forever ago. But I think they were freshmen or either at the beginning, no, in their freshman year, yes, freshman year and sophomore year, we had, so far they've had 2 or 3 Scholarship Academy trainings. The first one, I think we were in the auditorium and we did this virtual game about scholarships. The second one, we met in the media center, I believe. Now the platform is virtual. They are all things scholarship. So if you are interested not only in the list that I talked to you about, that's a generic list, but you really want to get really in depth about scholarships, make sure that your Gear Up student signs up for the Virtual Scholarship Academy. And they also have virtual hours for you to meet with them one on one to talk about your child's specific needs. So again, Gear Up students, there's a lot being invested, a lot of money, a lot of resources, a lot of time, a lot of effort. I cannot even imagine what my financial aid would have looked like had I had access to all of this support at this time. So please take advantage of that. The other thing is, in case you're wondering, well, what's all of this Gear Up? Or at any time, if you want to know what's going on with Gear Up, all you need to do is click on this link because this is the Gear Up calendar. It tells you all things Gear Up that are going on in the state. So I'm not sure. So some events may be local, some may be from one county that can join with another county. I'm not sure about that. I think sometimes it is possible. So all of that is on their calendar. They do update it a lot. So again, everyone, that ends my presentation for Gear Up, as well as for everything on the advisement sheet, on this advisement guide. Please review this video, write down your questions, book your conference because it is important going into your senior year. When you meet with the counselor, not only will we ask if you have questions about any of this, but of course, we'll talk about your classes for next year. If you have to make anything up, things you should be doing to get ready for the senior year. So, as you successfully wrap up your junior year, we say congratulations, parents, students, family, everyone who's played a part of your success so far. And we look forward to meeting with you and advancing along the way as we secure the cap in 4 years, real time. Go Pirates.